Welcome everybody to a look at a brand new 4K limited edition Steelbook release of 2017's Atomic Blonde. So it comes in this really rather nicely done hardbox case with new artwork on the front and then a quote from the film on the rear. So yeah, fantastic looking thing in terms of the physical aspects, but we'll talk about the film first before we look at the rest of it. So it's directed by David Leitch, who also did that's a Bullet Train, Deadpool 2, and The Fall Guy. And this is an action thriller clocking in at 115 minutes long. Had a budget of $30 million, but at the box office it made $100 million, so it was a decidedly a reasonable success. Stars Charlize Theron, who was in likes of Mad Max Fury Road, Kubo and the Two Strings, Monster, and In the Valley of Elah, as well as James McAvoy, who was in 4 of the X-Men films, as well as Split, Glass, and It Chapter 2. And in supporting roles, you've got the likes of John Goodman, Toby Jones, Sophia Boutella, and Bill Skarsgård. So, an undercover MI6 agent is sent to Berlin during the Cold War to investigate the murder of a fellow agent and recover a missing list of double agents. So, over the years, some have criticised this film for being style over substance, and even though that is somewhat the case, there is so much more to this that is right with this film than what is wrong. So, though it has its flaws, they never have stopped me from thoroughly enjoying this film. Charlize Theron is incredible in the lead role as she manages to convincingly make her character stylish, clever, and capable in a fight scenario, but crucially, she's also not invincible. And you feel every blow that she takes as well as every blow that she gives. So, yeah, really excellent acting on her part to convey the fact that she's confident in taking the hits, but also confident in terms of, you know, giving the hits out as well. The supporting cast is also really rather solid, with James McAvoy easily being the best of the lot. The action scenes are entertaining, extremely well filmed, and they have got a great physicality to them, especially in the apartment stairwell scene, which is particularly noteworthy. The soundtrack and score are also brilliant, with the soundtrack being the best part, especially as it is not only great music to accompany the beautiful aesthetic of the film, but it also helps give more authenticity to its period production and period setting, as it is set in the 80s during the Cold War, 1989. But also, I do love music from that decade, and they've chosen some really rather great songs there as well. The plot and the script are also engrossing, despite being not particularly deep. But they do offer up a framework where the best parts of the film can hang from, and I wasn't bored. I have never been bored by this either when watching it. Ultimately, what we have here, though, is a film that is another extremely well-made action thriller that is somewhat comparable to the John Wick films, although I wouldn't say that it's quite as good as those. Those 4 films are still easily maybe the peak of current action cinema for me personally. But as far as action films go from the last several decades, this is still several years even. This is still easily one of the best of its type, and yeah, has rarely been matched or bettered. So yeah, even from the director himself, I think only really probably Deadpool 2 could rival this, to be honest. And yeah, I really do like this edition of the film itself. Wasn't cheap by any means. It's £45, but it is only one of 2,000, as you can see there. So yeah, it's not going to be something that's you know mass produced or anything like that. That's even less than what Indicator do for a lot of their limited edition releases. They're usually around 6,000, so quite limited in production. Did already have this film on Blu-ray, but it's nice to have it on 4K as it does look that extra bit better, sounds better as well, and all of that. And that is the Steelbook itself, which yeah, I really do like the look of. A lot of Steelbooks now are doing this kind of framed aspect to it as well. I know the Twisters, the new film, Steelbook 4K is looking like that as well. So yeah, which I'm kind of a fan of, to be honest. It looks pretty cool. And then you got that on the back as well, and then just down the side. So yeah, excellent looking steelbook, excellent looking hard box as well. Like I said, it is hard box, so even though it's not the absolute strongest, it's hardly a weak one either. And in terms of other physical extras, we get a bunch of art cards, so minor spoilers for the film here. All of them do feature Atomic Blonde on the back though. So there's Charlie's Theron again. There's James McAvoy. There's John Goodman and James McAvoy. And Charlize Theron getting in a bit of a brawl. Like I said, she's really, really great in the action role herself. And then Charlize Theron with Sophia Boutella. And then we also get a booklet as well, which has some really rather in-depth write-ups on certain aspects of the film that we'll talk about now. So we have your cast and crew credits, and then in the actual film itself, we've got introduction to this in the booklet itself. Even we've got introduction to the story, then about the production. So Going Atomic, development of the thriller, spies and traitors, casting the film, recreating 1980s Berlin, so design, locations, props and costumes, production design and the wall, because it is set near the Berlin Wall from the late 80s. We've got Bowie as inspiration, cinematography design, props, then we've got costume design, masterclass in stunts, blonde training, lensing and editing key sequences, and picture cars and automotive stunts, because obviously being set in the 80s in Berlin, there's a lot of crossover with, Eastern Bloc cars that are in the film as well, so they had to find a lot of Trabants around, which I know there's still a fairly heavy car culture around that car, but they're obviously nowhere near as many as they used to be. And then there's a few shots from the film included as well, with a quote there. So yeah, James McAvoy drives this really rather nice Porsche. I think it's the 911. And yeah, it looks absolutely superb. And then yeah, final shot in the back there. So yeah, it looks like a really rather in-depth write-up on the production of the film. We also get a nice double-sided poster. So we get the what is broadly the original poster in landscape, which is nice. It's on really rather nice thick paper as well, so don't worry about it tearing. And then we've got new artwork for the rear in portrait. Really rather nicely 80s inspired, which is obviously going to be the case given it's set in the 80s. And yeah, we've also got extras on the disc itself. So we've got a future commentary with the director. We've also got deleted scenes, Blondes Have More Gun. Then we've got Welcome to Berlin, and then anatomy of a fight scene, and more than that as well. I've not actually looked in the extras on the disc itself. I was just reading off the back. But yeah, the anatomy of the fight scene is not most likely going to be the stairwell fight scene, because that is really, really well done, and easily one of the best action scenes from the 2010s as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, overall a great film. 4.5 stars out of 5 for me. I know some people are really rather rag on it, especially when you compare it to the John Wick films, or maybe even the Raid films as well, but still I think it's more than able to hold its own, which is primarily due to the fact we've got Charlize Theron in the lead role. We don't have just another male in the lead role, plus the period setting also helps, and the fact it's also got other elements to it as well, like spy aspects as well, the really rather great soundtrack, and yeah, just the general look of the film as well. So even though the fight scenes and the general hard-hitting violence might well come across like other efforts, it's still more than able to set itself apart from those films and be enjoyable in its own right as well. So yeah, highly recommend seeing this if you haven't already. But if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.